Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations over 300 years ago, father of economics. He basically stated four things. The beneficial power of self-interest means while you may love doing your job, you're not doing it for the help of other people. You're doing it so you can make money. And that's understandable because you need that money to pay for where you live, to pay for your food, to pay for your transportation, to pay for your family. So you do it while you may enjoy doing it, and that's important. You do it because you need it. Also, the division of labor specialization is a primary base of a nation's wealth. If everyone did the same thing, we wouldn't have any money. You become good at something specific, people will pay you for it. Companies will pay you for it. And the importance of freedom to trade among people, businesses, nations. That way you can set the price for something as a company. You don't have to go through the government, such as within a totalitarian regime, where they say, we'll set the price for it. And the market's self-directed. What does that mean? If you are a doctor and you pay $8,000, or charge $8,000, for some kind of surgery, and someone else moves across the street from another doctor and says they'll charge $7,000, they can do that. That'll force you to try to lower your price or offer something else in return as well. And that's how consumers get the best deal within a free market economy. This is a supply curve. As a company buys more products, it costs more to make it. You make one car, it may cost $500. You make two cars, cost $1,000. You make three, it's going to cost you $1,500. The demand curve. The more there is of something, the lower it costs. High demand, be a low price. Something like sand. There is lots of sand throughout the world, and anyone can get to it, so they don't charge you a lot when you go buy it. On the other side, gold, very rare. There's not a lot of gold, so the price is high. Elastic demand. This is when demand changes. A good example is a banana. You may pay $5 for a bunch of green bananas. You know they're going to turn yellow eventually, but will not ripen for several days. You buy them green, but that price goes down if you go to the store. I was at Kroger today, in fact, and I saw several very ripe bananas. They were charging the entire bunch for $1. That's as things change. That's elastic demand. Situations change and the demand changes. Inelastic demand. This is an example of where the price does not change much. Diamonds, which is basic 80% of the diamonds in the world are controlled by one family in South Africa called the De Beers. They only release so many diamonds every year. So it's pretty inelastic no matter how bad economic times get. They'll hold on to those diamonds. They only release so many. Where the supply and demand curve meet is called perfect equilibrium. You may build 1,000 cars. There may be only so much demand for it, and you may say I'm going to charge $10,000 for the car. But if people are only willing to pay $2,000 for it, well, you need to sell those cars anyway. So where they meet is the perfect equilibrium. The tragedy of the commons comes from the British term common, for a common area. A good example of this is you have 3 sheep, let's say on a few acres of land. That's enough for all of them, all that grass there. But you put more sheep on there, it takes a while for the grass to grow back, especially if more sheep keep herding. You got too many sheep there. The grass will all be eaten, not enough time to grow back, and every sheep starves to death. We talk about economics, we talk about the issues within us that affect us. Resources, non-renewable, such as oil and gas, coal. Renewable, fish, forests, water. We'll always need more water. We can have more fish as long as we don't make them go extinct. And even forests, as we talked about before, can grow back, but these take time. What we want to do is more people come to the face of this earth. Optimal depletion of non-renewables. Don't overuse them. Optimal harvesting of renewables. In other words, don't harvest all the fish, just enough to feed us all. Sustainability. How long can we go on based on where we are at with our environment? And that's really a question looking at every situation is not clear. Can we reduce poverty? Can we increase economic development in all countries? Environmentally views economically. We used to believe mankind was on top. That's anthropocentrism. In fact, it's kind of interesting here. Even the woman is slightly below the man here. Then there was biocentrism, which occurred in about the 80s, which put men and women equal all living things. But now we're talking about ecocentrism, where the inanimate things, the water, the air, the land, is just as important as all the animals and the plants. Science policy is often ignored for political reasons. Galileo, when he first formulated that the sun does not revolve around the earth, the Catholic Church threatened to torture him unless he recanted. Joseph Lister, a doctor, where Listerine is named after. He actually was the first doctor in the 1880s, 1890s to say we need to wash wounds, wash your hands to reduce infection. They thought he was crazy. Turned out being right. The Wright Brothers. The U.S. government did not believe a plane could fly, even after they sent a picture and said, bring it to Washington, D.C. and prove it to us. In the late 60s, IBM believed that the personal computer, like the ones we're all using now, there was a national market for about 5 of them. There are still arguments in many states about teaching evolution. And there's been a lot of disparities with different groups about IQ testing. I won't go through all these. Why don't you take a look at these, though? This is where both conservatives and liberals will take certain stances against science because it does not benefit them. And they're equal opportunity on all sides here. So take a look at it. I think you'll find it interesting. Part of our economic waves included several waves. The first one being manifest destiny. In other words, people in the 13 colonies, became our United States, believe it's our destiny to go from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. The problem is more and more people are born in the United States. We drove away the Indians, pretty much bringing them to extinction. The Trail of Tears is probably an example of this. Second wave of conservation was, as I showed in the previous slide, with forestry, timber over harvesting as more and more homes are being built, and the Dust Bowl from excessive crop overuse with little moisture within the Midwest. Third wave of conservation took place about 40 years ago. Cuyahoga River fire in Cleveland caught fire. It took 3 days for them to put it out. There's so many chemicals on the river itself. 3 Mile Island, similar to Chernobyl. We almost had a meltdown. We didn't. This is in New York also. Love Canal, we talked about that during the waste management phase. And there's campaigns to keep America beautiful. This was national campaigns for people to pick up their garbage and not leave it on the side of the road. We talk about Love Canal. There are over 600 Superfund sites. These are sites by the EPA that have chemical poisons throughout the land and have to be decontaminated. And our taxpayers' dollars are paying for that. Economic sustainability consists of human sustainability, which includes education of people, training so they can make money and contribute to society, as well as providing proper medical care. Environmental stability, so we don't overuse our resources and causing living resources to go extinct. And social sustainability, eliminating illiteracy and hunger, so that when people can actually, again, read, which means they can work and they won't be hungry. Overall, these three components, environmental, social, and economic, will create proper sustainability for all living things, as well as keeping the earth balanced.